Welcome back to Divine Feminine. We're here to check in with your energy. For those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings, an intuitive astrologer, a psychic medium, and clairvoyant. Now, if you do want a booking or you want to visit our Sage in a Circle landing page, which is our exclusive membership, all the links directly are below. We're going to get straight into your read. Now, initially, I had to sit with this and really grasp the concept because I do feel post last month, many of us moving into this month with an element of apprehension and wanting to get into the nice. And, there is a little bit of a green-eyed monster. And initially I was looking at it going, okay, is this a divine feminine? Or is this a transformation that you're moving into in a very deep sense? For some of you, I do believe you could be getting some gossip through. There might be some sudden revelations about the direct joint connection and some sense of changes. Now, this, yes, can come through at an intuitive level, or it could be in the 3D through communication that you directly receive or gossip you receive. Now, from your crowning energy, at a personal level, we're first going to discuss, and then I'm going to go into some of the interpretations I see psychically for you. One of the first things I'm noting is that there's almost this step in, falling into the depth of feelings, but also a revelation of maybe some trigger points and insecurities. But on the opposite side of it, there can be almost this revelation of who you really are, but you're going to be diving deep. Now, in this crowning energy, every journey starts with a single step. It's in reverse. And I think that for some of us, and I really reference this at the new moon in Aries, we do have an opportunity to get back on track, but to do things in a different way. So this is to do with the direct connection, actually looking at things as an opportunity, not something. And I think the more into this month we go, I do believe there's a potential we can see some goodies, some juice, some clarity and direction, and some flow. Okay. Now, I do feel that if you don't quite know how life is going to play out, what you want to pour your energy into at a personal level, I think you can be pondering over that at the moment. I think you can be pondering over what you want to invest in, what works. Now, the one warning I can say is to really watch the lunations. And I'm going to go into explaining the reasons why. This month, what we need to understand at a very base level is that we do have on the 1st of May a full moon in Scorpio. So as the title references for your energy, diving deep and transforming. Now, what does Scorpio do? Scorpio can feel things deeply, passionately. It's also getting into the depth of, you could be looking at your finances. You might be, needing to be very careful about what you eat in your ascension process, being very careful to eat light. The digestion can be funky. And some of that energy really did play out last month in our ascension process. It might have been like these. And again, this is not medical advice. It's guidance and potentials that can play out. So one way it can play out is feeling sensitive to food. You gut a little bit off. Sensitivity to light, funky sleeping. Again, I would also say to be aware that feelings can be deeper than usual, okay? After this, and it did come through with the divine masculine, I think that the best analogy, so if you haven't watched that, I really advise you watch it. When we are going into a cocoon state, it's not saying that's where we're going to live. It's saying through the darkness comes light, because it's the hermit mode into the sort of like full card and tarot. So for some of us, it can be we're going a little bit backwards to go forwards, but I do directly see a breakthrough. And again, I see the butterflies here. This journey's already started. The seeds were planted. The manifestation, I don't know why I heard the term oracle. It's like you intuitively know that things are going to move. Now, when we're feeling down, no, we're not generally feeling as optimistic. Okay. If you weren't able to bring things full circle, or you felt that this circumstance in the joint connection wasn't moving. There is good reason for it, but that doesn't mean there's no movement. And I do firmly believe movement is already hitting. I do believe there is an individual that is very jealous of you. And, not necessarily is that a great thing. Sometimes it can mean that we get false attention or negative attention for the wrong reasons. Sometimes it's about, taking things to heart and feeling like, why do other people have life together? And trust me, I don't think anybody in the world has their life together completely. We are sometimes accepting things as they are. You guys have always, more than likely in your ascension process, and I directly spoke to my twin about this earlier, because very much I could see how, these current energies can really be playing out in the divine masculine's life, and we had a chat about it. But one of the things I was talking about was the fives, and you do have that in the past position. So, this card drops down to a 5. So you're looking at things that haven't come full form. The 5s were, for me, in my life, times when I had definitely outgrown certain chapters, certain circumstances. When I would see the 5s, it would generally say to me, a significant change is going to happen, and you're going to be scared, or shocked, but at the same time, it's going to happen so quickly. The next thing you know, the dust has settled and you're kind of taking stock. So I do feel sometimes our perspective is generally like that because we're tired, run down. So the advice would be to rest, to come back to this, to look at life and to look at the circumstances you're dealing with in your life, because there is radical change. And this radical change that's coming is going to be the better version of who you are today. And these are real times of being able to realize what your dream is and to fight for it. And I recall thinking back to, my age bracket way back when, inside my twin flame path, and thinking, it was almost like I was finding every excuse in the book to avoid it, to avoid the inner truth of what I was feeling. Did I still have feelings? Did I want to dream? Did I want to have? Did I want to attain? Did I want to risk? And with all those things, we're doing those things every day, but not as intentional. And so I believe when we are intentional and saying, no, I do have power, and, this feeling is deep and this is my truth. And I know I don't have all the answers, but at the same time, I have to live my truth. And so in living your truth, there's less resistance then, because you're being truthful to yourself. You're not living a fake life that everyone else believes that, gosh, you should be so grateful for, because that's all you really can have. That's all you're worthy of, because that is so not true. It doesn't really matter what other people think. If something is your heart's desire and it's your passion, and it's something that you are ready to say, if I'm not doing this, do I feel dead? And I think many times when we are living unauthentically, unethically, it does feel like that. So this is a time in which you can feel that you're wanting to get your world more stable, but there is a choice. There is a choice here to choose what you want to transform. And many times in the journey, both parties are needing to change. Both parties are evolving and changing. And so it's not one-sided. When we are in victim consciousness, yes, even myself, I felt blame at times for others, down to karmics, down to the counterpart, I was doing the work, was that person doing the work? And I don't think anybody can avoid doing the work. I'll be perfectly honest. A is because when you do outgrow a path, be it you're ready or not, guess what? You get the 5s, and it's telling you this evolution is happening. We believe you're ready, and we're giving that evolution to you. So there is this evolution coming. Now, I do feel that you're moving past the point of bare base frequency. We have the card at a base level of, in order to grow beyond this space, we need to be open. We need to perceive things in different ways. We need to, from a spiritual point of view, to move into that faith, but also to take our own personal action. We can't be sitting there when there's a flood and we're saying, Gaia's going to come save me, and then Gaia sends a canoe and you go, I'm waiting for Gaia. The canoe was given. You didn't take an option. You didn't take an opportunity. So I'm looking at this card being a 9, and it's listening for the truth. You can't hide from your truth. You can't hide from what you truly feel. Now, each day, I'll be honest, you'll have a myriad of feelings. In one day, you could feel hate. You could feel bitter. You could feel scared and nervous about the potential of what things could be. And sometimes that can even be exciting. So it's okay to feel. It's not saying sweep it under the carpet and pretend it's not there. You're not going to be able to do it with this lunation. Softly, softly, the tender touch. So again, be gentle with your wounds. Be gentle with your truth. Let things out so they don't hold you down. You could be more mysterious than usual. We could, I'll be honest, be paranoid with this. There is something in the connection evolving here. There is definitely a move that is shifting here, but definitely you are shifting to divine feminine. And this is from the inside out. This is about your abilities. It's about, there's personal things in your life that also are as important. And this is referencing that. This is, can you have it all? Yes, you can. You can have a relationship. You can have your dreams. You can be individual. Don't think you can only have one or the other. They're saying you can, but what you focus on is going to grow. I think there is a time of reflection here, and I think it's okay to desire something that you desire, but I think you're going to go into that questioning. I do feel you're going to have a revelation, but I do think some of the things where we realize we're stuck, how do I put it? They can show up in different areas. I think for some of you, if you do hear gossip, you're going to get what the next step is. That's what I'm hearing. So for some of you, if you do hear there has been a change in status with your counterpart, be it you've snooped on social media, or you got a text message, or you got a psychic download, I feel you're going to internally go into the heart space and the intuition, and there's going to be a settled energy. But that feeling that comes through is a bit of a message for you, and I want you to pay attention to it. We are going to check in with this next week. If you do want to look at the joint connection, you can book a reading online. We do hold the Masculine, Feminine, and Karmic Weekly. Like I mentioned, you can go to the website. We do host bookings online, and I have discounted the prices until further notice. However, they will be going up later in the year. Now, if you do want to visit our Sage in a Circle network with our membership, that does coach the Twin Flame Collective with a myriad of content in there and support, you can sign up to it online via the website. All the links are directly below. Otherwise, I'd love to hear how this reading resonates with you and how directly you are traveling.